My name is Kash Fedie, CEO, founder of Fadaie Insurance. Fadaie Insurance gave me everything I could ever dream for. And fundamentally, what I do is I help entrepreneurs become insurance agency brokers succeed in the insurance. Now, I do that with the Fadaie franchise. What if you bought a franchise where you have mitigated most of the risk? I have a key formula, and I've distilled all of the things that do work, and that today is the Fadaie franchise opportunity, which I am offering on this podcast. This podcast is designed for me to have discussions about it. And I know it's the least sexiest subject, but I endeavor to bring fun and heart-centeredness into the insurance space. I'm here to speak about that on this podcast, to discuss it, the subtleties of the business. I call it chewing the cud. Talk about it, and we'll have some incredible guests that will come who can also provide some rebuttal and challenge, grit, tenacity, positivity, and growing. I'd love to speak with you. Don't hesitate in contacting me and perhaps discovering if this is an opportunity that fit for what you have in mind this year. So let's jump into this week's episode. Here we are again. Boom.
Yes.
Let's go. Fadaie Franchise Podcast. Jamie and I are here now to have a great conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
Last time was really fun. I enjoyed it.
It's important for us to proclaim our message, right?
For sure.
So it's getting super exciting. There are some things I wanted to cover. It has to do with, we had a juicy conversation just now, so I'm kind of like wanting to go back to that conversation. And,
maybe we can circle back later.
Yeah, I likely can, and I will. But I do want to, because I keep talking about the Fadaie franchise opportunity.
Right.
And I've spoken about antidotes to pain points that I had for 20 years. And those pain points became the remedies that I created over the past 20 years. So there's 7 of them. There's 7 pillars of the Fadaie franchise opportunity. And this is for any insurance agency that either they've launched and they're coming up, or they're already in existence. These 7 components are integral to succeed in the insurance business. So I wanted to kind of dive into those, and maybe you can offer some support and challenge.
Yeah.
First of all, let me name them.
Okay, let's hear it.
So people that are in the business, you'll appreciate this. I'm going to name them in arbitrary numbers. There's 7 of them. And then I'll go, after I name them, I'll go into which we believe is the most important. They're all important, but if there was a hierarchy of importance, we'll list those in a second. So let me just go with the 7 components that we feel, based on our humble experience of 20 years, integral part of running an insurance agency successfully. So here we go. One of them is service personnel. People who handle service. So every agency is different. A lot of agencies have where the insurance agent sells and services.
Right.
Right?
It's common.
We parsed it out. We call that service department is kind of on its own island.
Yeah.
So that's one of the pillars. Let me keep going. Support and training is a component.
That's a big one.
Whether you're brand new or whether you've been doing this for a long time, 20, 30 years, you still have to practice this business, correct?
Definitely. And it's always changing. Always evolving.
especially with the advent of technology.
Yeah.
You have a lot of seasoned agents that have been doing this for 30, 40 years, and they're kind of lost because of technology being so rapid. And it's scary for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Skip over to book ownership. That's a big one.
Yeah.
A lot of agencies that hire producers don't offer book ownership. It's hardly ever the case.
Mm-hmm.
By book ownership, we mean the business that the agent produces when they leave that agency. Who owns that asset?
Right.
Right? That's called book ownership, just to define that. And that's one of the components. Carrier appointments is another component.
That's one of the top ones because they're so hard to get.
It's one of the top ones. So we call those markets. We call that inventory. Again, these are components for any insurance entity, agency, retail brokerage is what we do to succeed in 2026 and beyond in the insurance industry. Another one would be leads.
Yeah.
Right? Leads or marketing. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to put them in order in a second. What do we miss? The seventh one, infrastructure. And what do we mean by infrastructure? Real briefly, accounting.
Yeah, just all the admin stuff that's involved. And there's
Yeah.
a lot. Licensing, accounting, legal, corporate structure. I mean, all of it. There's a lot to do, especially if you're like us and you're doing multiple states. You really have to be aware of what each state has, their parameters, their guidelines. So yeah, there's a lot to that.
Right. And finally, technology, including a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
There's people in the United States right now running insurance agencies that are using Excel sheets still. It's a fact.
I don't know how they do that. But.
Well, because, humans are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
So
true.
you learn how to do something and it works, and then you get better at doing that.
True.
But then you fast forward 20 years later and it's a fossil.
It starts slowing you down at some point. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. Now, before I talk about Fadaie's 7 components in order, what are we talking about? We're talking about if your goal is to create financial freedom in the insurance, retail, broker space. That means you want to create wealth. Then there are 7 components that you have to truly focus on.
Yeah.
That's the Fadaie franchise compensation offer. And that's what we're talking about. Because it's really about the goal you come in with. If your goal is to be a smaller shop, awesome. More power to you.
Yeah.
It's what's the goal? Our goal was to build more complexity, scale, more problems, basically. we want
Our goal is to be diversified in the market, right? Because when one state or area has problems, be it California or other states that are going through issues with insurance market, you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
And that would be a goal for somebody who wants to create wealth. They would think about diversity, like you said.
Exactly.
But expansion always comes with complexity.
Of course.
Complexity are problems, and problems looked at from the lens of expansion are good.
Mm-hmm.
Because problems are
opportunities
for you to then conform and course correct to become more conscious, to become more evolved. So that's what complexity is. We went from a single cell organism to a multi, right? And that's, so in the fabric of nature, I always bring in spiritual, metaphysical elements to the insurance space. That's kind of what we're known for. So I'll always kind of weave into the conversation some metaphysical. If you've listened to some of our podcasts, you'll catch that, because as above, so below. Everything is interconnected. But let's dive into those 7 in the order that Fadaie prefaces those as important. Number one thing for an insurance agency agent to really have down are leads.
Yeah. If you're not selling, you're not surviving.
What's your name? What is our title in the business? What is our title? What are we called? Producers.
Yeah.
We're producing business. That means we're selling. Now, so warm transfer leads is how we handle that with Fadaie. So we actually have a telemarketing department. We've cracked the code with leads. There's human beings that are interested in buying insurance. We call that high intent people. We acquire access to those people through a phone dialer. It's not a cold call. These people went through their own volition and are in need of insurance. Our telemarketer engages with that person, and then we have a team of, this would be you, potentially, if you join. The franchisee would get a phone call with an individual on the phone who is basically ready. It's a prospect. Now, the agent's goal then is to qualify that individual and ask the right questions. So that's kind of what we're working on. So Fadaie offers warm transfer leads, organic leads. We make your phone ring, and then we don't stop there though.
Right.
So what we do next is we actually put your conversation, we'll take the 100 conversations that you've had with these leads, we put it in AI, a specific AI, and then it helps us. So the AI will listen to the transcript and it will score the franchisee.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we can get visceral and see, okay, how do we get our score up and why is our score low?
Score meaning like, how did they do in the process of the sale?
Right.
Okay.
There's components to the conversation.
Yeah.
That when left, if there's components left out, it lowers the conversion ratio.
Wow.
It's a science.
So this AI has everything built in so that they're
Yes. It listens to
able to figure out whether or not they
yes.
said what they're supposed to say
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes. So the AI has within it the intelligence to understand statistically what key components constitute to a sale, increasing of a sale. And it has to do with various questions that are either asked or not asked or left out. There's various patterns. So the AI will parse that out and say, oh, this is a 50%, and here's why. And then it helps me, the sales guru, if you will, because we run the Dojo. The Dojo is our training, 9 to 5 live on Zoom, which is legendary, really. So we don't just provide leads, because you could have the best leads, but if you're not practicing to become top closer, then what good are the leads?
True.
So this is something that, again, it takes many years to evolve to that level. With the Fadaie franchise, we provide leads, which is the lifeblood, qualified leads, the lifeblood of any brokerage, really. And without a steady stream of leads, your time is siphoned. What are you going to do? A third of your day would go into cold calling, door to door, and that's fine. It's just that, again, it comes down to what's your most precious commodity?
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
So the idea of investing in a franchise like Fadaie Insurance, that's what comes with it. Number 2.
Well, can I say something really
Yeah,
quick?
please.
So another thing to note for those of you that may possibly be interested is insurance is the top 3 most optimized, or in the top 3 of the most optimized SEO on the internet today. So if you're thinking, well, I can just do my own SEO and I can do this and I can do that. Trust me, we've been there. We've done that. In the insurance space, it's one of the most competitive spaces. SEO it takes time. It takes years. It takes a lot of effort to develop. Whereas when we have these warm leads, we're actually handing to the franchisee something kind of on a platter, like, hey, here you go. This person wants insurance right now, versus having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars and years to develop your SEO to the point where you're somewhat competitive in any given market, right?
It's just a wiser way to do business. That's
Yeah.
why this
It's a
offer is
fast
for
track.
yeah. This offer is for investors,
Yeah.
an entrepreneur-minded person. You could do it yourself. It just takes time. Time is money. So both paths are valid, but if you're somebody who wants to develop wealth, you're going to look at it from a different mindset.
Definitely.
A franchise would be something that is, I call this distilled knowledge and a path to success quicker, right?
Yeah.
And then you do the math. Depending on what your investment level is, the math works itself out. The next most important component, there's 7 components. We said leads, warm transfer leads, and organic leads. The next most important component out of those 7, we feel, are insurance carrier appointments or markets.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's number 1 in my opinion, because you can't write business if you don't have appointments.
It's the chicken and the egg,
It
right?
is true.
If you have leads and then coaching to make you better with working those leads, that's great. But then if you don't have inventory, what good is the leads, right? You got to have a carrier.
It's a catch-22.
So getting carriers is, as I said in an episode before, is almost impossible.
Especially today, 2026, with the market the way that it is, companies rather, are not giving appointments right now.
You need to be very competitive in the marketplace, in the insurance industry, because it's a very competitive field. So as a broker, independent agent, as that's what Fadaie Franchise is, we have procured hundreds of different markets, appointments, carrier distribution, carrier representation, many ways of saying the same thing. Those come through time, through earning by virtue of your reputation.
Yeah.
It's a trust issue. As cutting edge as modernity is today, it still has components of ancient ways of doing business.
Definitely.
It's trust. So when you buy into a Fadaie franchise, you get the name brand carriers. You get the no name brand carriers too. There's carriers that will write things. When I say write, I mean underwrite, right? They'll write their name under a risk. That's how that came about.
Right.
But there are risks that your vanilla carriers won't take on. But with Fadaie franchise, of course, we have those markets, that inventory that can cater to all sorts of risk.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the advantage, like we said before, of being a broker versus being someone who has less access to markets, like a captive agent.
And we can defeat a lot of captive agencies and direct to consumer carriers because of our flexibility. So that we become this sort of one-man shop, one-woman shop. You know what I mean? Because of the plethora of carriers that we have.
Yeah.
So that's another
You
point.
mean one-stop shop? Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One stop shop. Or
Yeah.
so the next important thing I put down with the Fadaie franchise offer out of the 7 components is book ownership, or transferability, we call it in the franchise, in the FDD, and residual income.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I put that third amongst the others? Because the person coming in has to work at this incredible opportunity with the goal in mind of developing wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So there's impetus there. What they're doing today, which is basically going all out, that's what it takes. Your whole entire being, your soul has to be in it to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
But they know in the back of their consciousness that what they're doing is going to create legacy.
Mm.
And when they know that I'm working for myself, because every insurance policy that I sell is akin to investing in some sort of a stock market.
Yeah.
This is a metaphor. When you sell an insurance policy, it's like buying more stock. But it's better because insurance never goes down. Have you ever experienced your insurance going down?
Hardly ever.
Only if you had, God forbid, a DUI and a DUI falls off. That's about it.
Accident ticket. Yeah.
Insurance always goes up. Why? Because it has to ride the cost of life.
Inflation.
Yes. So it's better than the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
But again, back to the metaphor. When you sell an insurance policy, that policy renews, that's residual income. And when you accumulate a bunch of renewals over many years, and you know that you have a 90%, 88 to 90% retention, and you know inflation will keep going up, rates will go up because it has to be, it's linked to that.
Adjust for that. Yeah.
So then you can look at it and go, oh, I'm doing this. That's the impetus. I'm doing this for my future. And if I want to sell in 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, 10 years, whatever, then I have an asset, a pool of assets called a book of business, which I can sell. So I put that as third.
Definitely. Why get into it otherwise? You're making an investment of your time, your energy, and everything for your future.
And I think without that, you're not going to get a person that's going to go all in. You know, Mike was asking me a couple episodes ago, why not just do it? Why don't you just scale with W-2 employees?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with W-2 employees. They're great out there, but it's a different mindset.
Yeah.
If you have an out, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
When I came here as a kid, as a refugee, I didn't have a choice. That ended up being my advantage.
Right.
And many, many people that are immigrants to this country, whether they're first generation, second generation, that is sort of their impetus. So when you bring in somebody who invests in the Fadaie franchise, they have a ton of impetus.
Yeah.
So it's the fuel that I call it, the fuel that makes this work. If you come in without that skin in the game, you actually put yourself at a disadvantage.
Right.
Versus if you don't have an out, I've invested everything in this. I gotta make it. I have no choice.
Yeah.
You're digging deep.
Definitely.
And that's what Navy SEALs talk about. When you think you're at your max, you got like 60% left.
Yeah.
So our job at the Fadaie franchise is to help you dig into that primordial essence. That's where the DNA is. That's where you know what I'm saying? The overcoming spirit is in there.
They say that with physical fitness too. That once you think you're tapped out and you're at your max, you're actually just barely reaching beyond what you think you can
Right.
do. That's just the beginning.
Well, and that's because it's a mind game.
Yeah,
It's a mental thing.
it is.
And that's why the Fadaie franchise, with the investment, it is a mental exercise. I've invested this, I'm getting my ROI.
It's almost like a school of excellence.
It is an academy.
Yeah.
You know, when I learned Transcendental Meditation in 1998, because I read about every spiritual book at the time that I knew, the silver lining was to go within. So I'm thinking, how do I go within? What does that mean? It seemed ambiguous. So I got white pages at the time, the phone book. I heard about Transcendental Meditation from Deepak Chopra in one of his cassettes. And he was a student of the Maharishi, Mahesh Yogi, from the Vedic tradition of India. So I looked up Transcendental Meditation and I paid my $600, which was a lot of money for me at the time. But because of that exchange, that money is an exchange of value, I wanted something in return. And had that just been a free practice, I wouldn't have taken it seriously. And I wouldn't have practiced it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have reached a gradation of the peace that surpasses understanding, which is samadhi,
Yeah.
a year later, which now 25 years later, I accredit all of my success to. So there's something about that franchise fee, the buy-in, that is a ceremonial or ritual component to this.
Definitely.
The fourth thing I put as technology,
Oh, yeah.
including a CRM.
Gives you leverage.
Explain.
Because there's a lot of back and forth when you're selling an insurance policy. There's a lot of questions that happen. There's conversations that need to be had, and it's not always in a timely manner. It's not always, people have work, they have obligations, they have things going on in their lives, and so it's not always at the time that you need it, right? So when you're going to bind a policy and you're trying to, hit your numbers and make money, really what it comes down to is how do we collapse time? So I think, what did you say? It was like 20 quotes a day? What was it?
Yeah. 20, the quoting equals sales.
Right. So let's say you want to do 20 quotes a day, for example. You're working on all these quotes and you're waiting for John and George and all these people to get back to you. You may or may not want to sit there and wait for them to get back to you and move on to the next thing, right? Because the more you quote, the more you sell. So having a CRM with AI built in, with automations built in, that's constantly contacting your client for you, that's following up for you, it collapses time, and it also gives you more advantage over someone else who might be sitting there texting their client or doing all of that, and might have it parsed out in different places. What we have in our CRM is it's all in one place. We have texting, calling, emailing, and automations all in one place.
Communications tab, which gathers all the communications, texting, emailing.
Right. So it's all organized and synchronized in one place.
Pipeline cards.
Yeah. But it's all in one place that you're able to see, okay, I quoted 20 people. I've got all these quotes out. Who's responding? Who's not? What is my chance of actually
there's different stages.
selling this?
There's different stages in the pipeline.
Right.
So let's say you have a new business pipeline.
Yeah.
And then you can go to the outer look, the overview is what I'm trying to say. And you can see what stages that tile, that deal card is in. So there's like 8 stages, and you can find where the bottlenecks are. Mm-hmm. Oh, I talked to this person, I'm waiting on information. Well, okay. But in that stage, there's automations happening for you.
Exactly.
Right? That's what Jamie. So each stage has an appropriate and suitable automation to assist the agent in collapsing time.
Exactly.
So that's one level of technology. which is a client relationship manager.
Yes.
But you also have the ability to communicate within your team, your network,
Yes.
by going to a specific deal card, creating a note, tagging that person. You may want to delegate service as a franchise owner. You don't want to be, we're going to talk about, actually, service is our next one. It's a good segue. You're not going to be doing service work because that's another time suck.
Yeah.
The first time suck was leads. I talked about a third of your time goes to that. The second third of your time goes into service. We're cutting that out to Fadaie franchise. We need to leverage your skill at a different place so that it can produce more benevolence and growth for all of us. So how do you delegate to your service personnel that Fadaie offers with the Fadaie franchise opportunity? You go to the closest area of the need, which is the pipeline. And then you tag a service member from that specific area. They get an email. You've articulated what you need done. This is for you who are doing service yourself. You're going to appreciate this.
Yeah.
You articulate rough draft. There's an AI button which rephrases what you just said in broken English. It puts it together fluently, and you fire it off to your service team, and then they get to work on that. You just spent 5 minutes delegating.
Yeah.
And now you're off to producing.
Yeah.
Which means quoting, field underwriting.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Underwriting.
Closing deals, following ups, whatever, right? So we're taking the employee from self-employed directly to business owner to investor on the Kiyosaki quadrant.
Yeah.
So buying a Fadaie franchise puts you into the investor level immediately. So now let's go ahead and just one more thing on technology.
Yes.
As a broker, it's a positive thing that we have a lot of carriers. It's also a negative thing because it's labor intensive.
Yeah.
We bridge that gap with technology with raiders. Nothing new. You probably have raiders, but we have them all, and we have ones you haven't heard of because I am very into technology. I visit a lot of tech CEOs in conventions. And when you're in a business, you just get connected with people. And there's really new technology that then I look at and I incorporate. And then, of course, everybody gets to benefit from that. So that's another thing that we use. Well, a lot of really good technology. And what I mean by technology, just to unpack, is all you're doing is creating data, not creating data. You're collecting data, and then that data needs to go into a respective website, a portal for the carrier.
Yeah.
Or it needs to go on an application if it's surplus lines. That could be labor intensive. That costs time. So with our gadgets, technology gadgets, we collapse that by 10x and make you faster. Why is it important for you to be faster? Because you can get the quote out faster.
Competition.
If you're not touching your prospect, you're losing value. You're losing trust. They're going to go flirt with another agent and you're done.
True.
And what I see most agents do is they're sitting there working their tail off, not communicating with the prospect who gave them the data. And they think they're doing a good job for the client, but the client doesn't know that. The client's like, they forgot about me. They're going to go and talk to somebody else who's going to quickly deliver that quote. So these are the things we think about.
People expect instantaneous results, right? We live in a microwave society where everyone expects everything instantly. So if you can't deliver things quickly, then you're out of the game.
You're out of the game. And we talked about the fail rate of just starting a business. It's like the first year is like, I don't know, crazy, 70, 80%. Third year is even more. But insurance, within the insurance industry, it's even harder
Yeah,
because there's a lot of moving parts.
definitely.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the remedies to all those moving parts today. There's 7 components, and Fadaie is going down the list of most important to least important. They're all important, but this is the secret sauce to Fadaie. It's not a secret. Knowledge is ubiquitous.
Yeah.
It's the execution of knowledge. That's what you're buying with Fadaie franchise, is the action of it. Knowledge is everywhere. You can get it anywhere. But being part of an ecosystem where there is accountability, expectancy, and enthusiasm, that's what the Fadaie franchise opportunity is. And we talked about service. A lot of people do their own service work, but they're shooting themselves in the foot because they can only grow so far.
Yeah.
That's the second third of the time suck.
Yeah. If you're doing service, you can't be underwriting new policies.
You can, but not as much.
Not as many. Yeah. You won't grow.
No, if you get to $1 million in premium or so, you're done.
Yeah. You're stuck at that level for sure.
Because you're spending half your day dealing with claims and EOIs and billing. But that's not the worst part. You know what the worst part is?
What?
You start hating what you do. You do.
Yeah, because a salesperson loves to sell. That's like their impetus. That's why they get out of bed. They love helping people. They love doing what they do. But if they're getting bogged down with service, then they're not going to be able to do that.
Well, and people in customer service, customers will complain about something. It's normal.
Yeah.
But if they're complaining to you, that's going to cause your enthusiasm to dramatically plummet.
Yeah.
And then what are you taking to your sales call? Negativity. It's a matter of consciousness. We separate those two. There's people that love customer service and their whole mission is to be vomited on and not be affected by it.
Yeah.
That's a more nuanced understanding of what we're talking, why we separate the two.
That's true.
The agent should be at this place of bliss, joy. How can I solve problems today? How can I help you manage your risk and protect what matters to you? That takes enthusiasm. That takes, a level of happiness, joy, right? And so that's why we do that. And then the agent, franchise owner, branch can go past 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million much faster, especially when we, Fadaie, as a consultant, we help them bring on virtual agents to help them with the more tedious items.
Virtual assistants.
Virtual assistants.
Yeah.
Virtual
To be
assistants.
technical.
Of course, the service part of it, Fadaie franchisor will continue to conduct because we do it a certain way where we want to keep our 5-star reviews up. So we don't want to tarnish our brand mutually. So your transferability that we talked about, which was the third component, has to do with how's Fadaie's Google reviews, right? If it reflects on you when you're ready to sell.
Yeah.
We want to make Fadaie set apart in the marketplace as a quality franchise
Yes.
to purchase. That's why we do the service part.
Well, and like you were saying, in the insurance industry, it has everything to do with your reputation. And so it's not only your Google reviews, it's your reputation with the insurance companies. If you develop a reputation, because the industry is large, but it's also small. We know a lot of people, we've been in the industry for a long time, go to conventions all over the country and we see the same people, right? So it's about reputation in the industry at large, because when you have a great reputation in the industry at large, then things are easier in your business, right? And then also as far as transferability and selling your book eventually, that also plays into it. Because as we talked about before, if you're writing preferred business, if you're writing good business, solid business, then when you go to sell your book of business, it sells for more.
You remember when I was telling you about how we take sales producer scripts, conversation scripts, we put it in AI, and then we score them and help them become better closers?
Yes.
Insurance, now to your point, insurance company, they identify our reputation the same way. They, you know how they do it? Through loss ratios.
Yes.
See, they can determine why is such and such agency's book of business unprofitable.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? More losses than to be expected. So it's unprofitable business. More losses, more claims than premium taken in. That's topsy-turvy. Well, insurance companies, they've been doing this for ages. Yeah. They'll look at that report and they'll hone in on what the problem is. And they'll understand that it's an field underwriting problem. When you hear field underwriting, that's you. That's us, the producer. So our reputation is predicated on how we write business. Is the business that is being written proper for the premium taken? That's an art. That's an art that is part of the Fedie franchise opportunity. We keep you and teach you how to avoid mistakes because we want to have a profitable reputation.
Definitely.
That nugget right there is it's a decade of wisdom.
Yes.
Right? But when you come in fresh, you're new, you're anxious to sell.
Yeah.
So you'll compromise a little bit. And you don't know it, it's unintentional. But you need a senior field underwriter to say no, and here's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, you shoot yourself in the foot in a sense when you do things like that, because down the road, when you want access to that company, they're not going to take you seriously, and you're not going to be able to write that business.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to tread lightly and really have wisdom. I think the word is wisdom in understanding that, like you said, insurance is a long game. You're playing this for the long term.
And wisdom comes back to consciousness.
Yeah.
And it comes back to your nervous system. It comes back to what? Patience, long suffering.
Yeah.
Forgiveness of yourself. Sometimes you're too hard on yourself. It comes back to the virtues of the fruits of the spirit.
Yeah.
That's the consciousness I'm talking about. So when you're patient and you let a customer go or you place it somewhere else, that signals to the insurance company, we got a good one. Now when you want to expand into Florida, Georgia, other states, they'll open that code for you.
Yeah.
Say, oh yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, it's working, and we want more. You're writing volume, and you're writing our appetite, or what we like to see. What do I mean specifically? You're not putting everybody at pleasure use on an personal auto policy. You're actually finding out, where do you work? What do you do? What's your address? It's those subtleties that determine your bottom line and the profitability of the insurance company and your reputation.
Yeah.
This is the wisdom we're talking about, right? And it comes down to consciousness again. Number 6, 7 components. Again, this was a hard hierarchy. They're all important. But number 6, I placed in life support and training and education on Zoom. Part of the education is right here in this podcast.
Yeah.
This is the long form version of what we do each day for 2 decades. So we're just talking about it here so you can eavesdrop if you're thinking about investing or coming into the insurance industry on the retail broker side, this is a smart idea for you to get to know the founder, the CEO, CFO, what Fadaie is all about. But one of the things we offer, which I did my research with my competitors, the Goosehead, the We Insure, the Brightway, and what sets us apart, which nobody does, is the Dojo. The Dojo is where the first 10 franchisees, they get to, and this is for all franchisees, when we get to 1,000 as well, but the first 10 get to work with me directly on a live Zoom. Problems are guaranteed. So what we do is you unmute, you turn your camera on, you share your screen, and we solve that problem quickly, so you own that.
Yeah.
That's the live support. And that's every day, ongoing. So that is powerful. That's what Fadaie offers. Interestingly, the second thing that sets us apart is we lead with commercial.
Yeah.
Many agencies lead with personal lines. There's a stigma in the industry that commercial is somehow harder.
It is unique.
It's more complex in some ways, but it's not that. We got to get through the stigma of it. We lead with commercial, and we love personal lines too. But commercial is always the, in the hierarchy of the financial pyramid, a commercial client is going to give you more, right? Because you can then have their personal lines too. So we lead with commercial. But live support, education. See, a lot of agents that go into this business, they have to figure it out on their own. And I'm afraid that takes time.
It does.
So when you have somebody who has a black belt in insurance in that dojo setting, you have validation, you have accountability, you have confidence, and you're evolving your practice faster. That's what sets us apart. You see?
Yeah.
And so live support and training education on Zoom has been a game changer for the agents that I have practiced this. By the way, everything, these components, I've already created proof of concept for it before we launched the franchise this year. So that's why we're super confident about what we're doing, what we're saying, because I've had some testers, if you will, who I've tested this with. So finally, number 7, infrastructure for accounting, commissions, admin, human resources. Okay, this is the third time suck. The first one, this is part of all insurance agencies. First one is going to be leads, marketing. Number 2, service work. Time sucks. Number 3, infrastructure. If you're doing all 3 of those things, you're growing slowly. Because how are you going to, if you have salespeople, how are you going to coach them? How are you going to help them become better closers? Because you got to do admin work. You got to do commissions. You're basically, you own a job at that point. And you're burning out and you're selling out. And a lot of insurance agencies are selling out right now because they have not been able to balance these 7 components. So infrastructure happens to be this is your domain.
Yeah.
So tell us why that's important. I say it's a time suck because it is. I don't deal with it because my role is somewhere else, but that's part of the 7th component of the Fadaie franchise, and it's highly valuable.
Yeah. So it kind of ties into technology. So we at Fadaie invested in the top AMS that's out there for the insurance industry. And the reason why we did that is that we saw kind of the future on the wall and we said, okay, if we're going to grow, we need to grow with the best agency management system out there. Now, what's the difference between an AMS, agency management system, and a CRM? Agency management system is the backbone of Fedie. That's where we have all of our commissions. That's where we get downloads from the carriers, updates for clients. That's where we see when things are renewing, where we keep up to date with all of our data. So a lot of that is data quality is a big one. We have a team specifically for that, for data quality. We have a team for commissions and downloads and all of the accounting that goes into it. So, and when I say accounting that goes into it, it's because we have, like Kash said, hundreds of carriers, and they all process commissions differently. They have different timelines. They have different pay schedules. And so to be able to track all of those things in a timely manner and pay agents in a timely manner and also provide all of that detailed transparency that you would be looking for as a franchisee, you want to see what policies did I write, what did I get paid on, and when, right? Those are like the top things that you want to see and you want to have transparency over. And so we have that available. You can log into the system. Those statements are provided on a monthly basis. And so that's what my team and I are doing consistently all the time, is going through that processes of getting that data, downloading it, reconciling it, and providing it to the agent and or franchisee in a timely manner. So it's a lot of different moving parts, but hopefully I explained it okay.
There's a lot of people that are involved in this process.
Yes.
Even with all the technology we have, because insurance commissions are a different animal.
Mm-hmm. They are.
Some commissions come in as earned.
Yeah.
That means you sell a policy if the policyholder finances that policy. So if say it's $1,000, they put $100 down to purchase the policy. As earned means we only get the percentage of the down payment. So every month there's a percentage of that down that monthly payment is the
Right.
premium. That's what comes in. It trickles in. Versus paid upfront or fronted commission, as we call it. That method is you sell a policy for $1,000, they put $100 down, you get the entire commission from the $1,000. Now, if that policy lapses midterm, you get a chargeback because remember, you got fronted the $1,000. So you'll have to pay $500 back, for example, whatever the commission is. Whereas the as earned method, if there's somebody that falls off, there's no real pain with the chargeback because it's as you go. You see, there's pros and cons. But what I mean to say is that each carrier has a different way of doing that. They'll pick one or the other.
Yeah. Or sometimes they pick it based on the policy itself. So if they think it's more risky of being canceled, or they're waiting for escrow to pay a payment, or whatever it is, that carrier might decide that they want to pay this type of policy this way and this type of policy that way. So having an agency management system that can house all of that data and have all of the dollars and cents to the T calculated is key to success.
It frees you up. It goes back to your consciousness. It goes back to your mental space. If you have to engage with infrastructure, accounting, escrow bill, billing complexities, which is service, EOIs, COIs, marketing, then it is going to bring about unnecessary suffering. And unnecessary because I've already suffered.
I was going to say, speaking from experience.
It was my goal. It was my destiny, my dharma, to suffer through it. It was just that's how I was supposed to do it. Now for me to scale, I'm now the propitiation for that suffering. For you who wants to come in, you're grafted in. That doesn't mean you won't suffer. You'll still suffer, but it's engineered suffering. My suffering was sort of chaotic because if I didn't make it, I was on the streets. I didn't have an out. You know, when I first started my agency, before I met Jamie, I figured, hell, I just live. I'll sleep in my office, save money on rent. This is literally what I did because I figured, hey, I can buy more leads because leads are an asset spend. An apartment is a liability spend. That's the way my mind worked. Still does today. But I did what it took to make it, and it worked. You know, obviously, I made very asymmetrical tactics, guerrilla warfare, if you will, to make it in the business. And that served me right. That was my destiny. Fast forward to 2026. These are the remedies, these pain points, and these antidotes that I just outlined in that order are the components that you need to create wealth in this incredible industry, which is truly recession-proof. Nobody can part with insurance. It truly rides the waves of inflation. It is truly residual income because when you sell a policy and you have an 88% retention, that policy will renew and forward another commission. And it's truly flexible because you can do it anywhere. You don't need brick and mortar offices. Nobody comes into your office anymore. Very rare. So your overhead is a lot lower. And it's a truly scalable business because you don't have to do it yourself. You can create a team that does it for you. With Fadaie's culture that's already set, it's like the sourdough culture. We don't have to reinvent the mother. We just create more sourdough, okay? So that's the benefit, is you're coming into a culture that's already been proven, tried, tested, succeeded. So this is the smart way of investing. If you want to build wealth quicker than the stock market, which is a long play, as most experts say, that's a 7 to 12% long play. That's great. But if you have this desire to create wealth in the short game, buying a business is the smartest idea, in my opinion, because you have more control of that asset because you're the key person making choices. Now, add to that, you're buying a franchise, investing in a franchise. Now you've mitigated the risk of buying a business even further. It's like a more refined way of investing because you're buying a key proven system and you're working with the founder of the system. That's the value that Fadaie franchise brings that other franchise models do not bring. The ability to work with the person who went through those 20 years, I feel, is an awesome perk. And so that's what the Fadaie franchise offers. And you can leverage the buy-in, which is recommendable by a lot.
Yeah, we have financing available.
Well, if you look at real estate,
Yeah.
most of these real estate people, investors, what do? They leverage. They put 10% down, 20% down of their own capital. They get a loan. They buy a piece of property. They're leveraging. And then that property, they rent out and they cash flow.
Yeah.
The tenant is paying the mortgage and they might be making more or less, doesn't matter. But on the second home, they go get another loan. They leverage it again. What rich people do that most people don't is they leverage debt to create wealth.
Yeah.
And that also handles the tax part. You can't, there's a dynamic with debt to do with tax. Do your research. So Fadaie franchise is an asset class called the insurance business, retail insurance business. Jamie and I make it where you mitigated a lot of your risk. You're lowering your risk, and you're coming into this to create wealth. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Yes.
Stay tuned for more exciting episodes coming up where we just continue to discuss the subtleties of our business, of this opportunity. Until next time, thank you.
Thank you.